r/datingoverthirty. Anasia says, when to stop multi-dating. 39F turning 40 in a couple weeks and recently got back to dating on the apps. I had 3 dates set up this weekend. I'm not typically one to fall easily, but last night's date, the first one, was perfect. We kept extending it and probably cold hung out all night if it was a weekend. He's smart, funny, attractive, and we seem to align on a lot of things. I can really see this working out. Again, it is so rare for me to feel this way. Now we've just met, have plans to see each other again, and seem really excited about each other. But of course there's always the risk that it doesn't work out as we get to know each other. So the question is, do I still go on the other 2 dates? RMRS says, I literally am now 40 female, today eek. Having had that, this is the one feeling, backfire in a most soul-crushingly way. If it were me, I would go on the other dates that had been set up, but maybe not seek out any new conversations. And just be extremely cautious with my heart. Anasia says, happy birthday. RMRS says, thanks, I don't even feel a day over 39. Slafapism says, I'm 39 female, turning 40 in a couple months. My perspective is that you should continue to date other people if you have the desire to date other people, plus you both have no verbalized exclusivity agreement. My personal boundary is 6. I will not perform a sexual act if he's actively dating or being intimate with other women. Per my recent experience, I went on a first date April 4th with a 33-year man, and we had such a strong connection that I lost the desire to meet anyone else after our first date. No one compared to how awesome I found him, and I had been single for 2 years and had a large bank of people to compare him to. I didn't tell him this because it would be unfair to expect him to do the same after only 1 date, but I honored the way I felt about him and didn't meet others. No desire to. I learned later that the same happened for him before we had sex. I asked if he was seeing others, and he said he hadn't since our first date and would not as long as he was seeing me. We became exclusive then, and shortly after deleted our apps and became official. I'm flying out with him to meet his family at the end of May. Timely Mind 7244 says, this is awesome, best of luck with your budding relationship. I met my BF 3 months ago. Definition hot and sparks off the bat. Tons of communication during first 2 months. We had a disagreement where I challenged his thinking. He said it scared him. He hasn't been the same since, communication/enthusiasm wise. I'm gonna talk to him on Monday and then probably move on. Just wanted to say, I do not regret going exclusive with him. I believe every relationship teaches me something. I'm very thankful for my time with him. r/datingoverthirty. Beans5 says, is it possible to be platonic friends with someone you met on a dating app? Short story, I 33 female, met someone 32 male, a bit over a month ago. Conversation has always been interesting. We communicate very openly and we're so comfortable with one another and find each other attractive. All of these things are difficult for me to find in one single person. And I've possibly met like 150 to 200 people on these apps in the past 2.5 years. Has been very honest about his last relationship just having ended. When we met he thought he was past grieving it, but more recently has realized he isn't ready to date people or to even have casual sex. Usually when I hear someone say they just got out of a relationship, I bow out. But I saw all these qualities in him, me being so comfortable with him and us able to see through each other. I told myself he adds to my life than takes from it. I still think this. We've probably met up approximate 10 times, and it feels so natural each time. I've developed feelings for him. He says he likes me, but probably not in the same way. He likes confiding and having deep conversations with me. We haven't spoken about it in depth yet, but he told me we shouldn't be intimate anymore, and I'm quite sure he means we should just be platonic friends. I'm in two minds about this. I've only tried this 2 years ago, when I ended things with someone I saw over a few months. He still had feelings for me, and the friendship ended with him getting hurt by something he misconstrued. It was a worse ending than when I broke things off with him. I know if we decide to try being platonic friends, I will tell him I need space and time. I just think he's an incredible guy, and I'm grieving potentially losing having him in my life already. What if no one else can see the things he sees in me? Though I know I deserve more than this, I deserve to be chosen, and not when it's convenient to him. I've been so incredibly emotional, distraught, sobbing uncontrollably and not having an appetite, which is not me at. Fedinas23 says, I think you know what you have to do. Reread what you've written here, and take it all at face value. He's told you he's not interested in any sort of romantic relationship with you. He's told you he's not in a place to be committed to a serious relationship. If you didn't have romantic feelings for him, sure, you two could be platonic friends. But you've said you do have romantic feelings for him, and are choosing to go forward anyway, even though he's been telling and showing you he doesn't feel the same way. Choose yourself and exit this situation. You can't continue to set yourself up for hurt and disappointment just because you're scared of the unknown. Don't settle for this just because you think nothing better will come along. Choose yourself, continue to put yourself out there, and find someone who wants the same things you do. You can do it. It's hard and scary, but you can do it. Say goodbye. Beans5 says, thank you, this is the kind of comment I needed. After I posted this, and was waiting for the post to be approved, I actually told myself I needed to choose myself, and end this. 6 foot tall says, no, this will be very hard to do. As I women hold yourself more higher than to settle for this. Exit the situation. Frantic 508 says, I've possibly met like 150 to 200 people on these apps in the past 2.5 years. In person? Holy shit lol. People are often shocked when I tell them that I've met about 25 to 30 people in person from dating apps in the past 3 to 4 years. In response to your actual situation though, I've recently been in the same exact situation as he is, so I truly believe that he's just going through a hard time. I got my heart broken pretty hard late last year. I met a girl a couple months ago, and she was incredible. Seriously, like, exactly my dream girl in every possible way, emotionally, physically, etc. After a month, I realized that I'm still not over the heartbreak. I still can't figure out if I still love that person, or if I'm just still healing. But I told the recent girl how I felt, and we agreed to not continue dating, much like you and this guy. The girl really liked me, and after a week or so of being friends, she messaged me and said that she has to stop talking to me entirely because it hurts too much. I understood. The same thing could very likely happen to you. If you like him as much as it seems, friendship might not work out because you'll always want more. It's a tough one. Llama Librarian says, my friend and I met on a dating app, but neither of us wanted anything romantic from each other. We met, we got along really well, but neither of us felt the spark. We've been besties now for about 5 years, both have dated other people with no jealous feelings on either side, and no one trying any funny stuff, but if you want more, it's going to be very hard for you. I'd take a step back, give it a few months to grieve, then reach back out to see if a real friendship is possible. A real friendship means that if he starts to date someone else, you're okay with it. r/datingoverthirty. Etchik0w9 says, traveling for work while dating. Hey, I would love to hear any feedback, advice, or stories, good and bad, from anyone who has tried maintaining, starting, or having a relationship with someone who does contract work requiring travel for extended periods. I do not believe in soulmates or having your person. I think people have infinite capacity for love. However, I met someone fairly recently and I'm shook y'all. I'm pretty sure they are too from what Thieve told me. We just fit better than anyone either of us have ever met. The rub is that they are leaving town for work. This is not home to them. Home is across the country, but they are never home because they travel for work and do contracts of varying lengths. 3MO, 6MO, a year, 2 years. All in the country but still. We are both having a hard time navigating this as we are both very much love em and leave em / here. For a good time not a long time types. However, there is something important feeling about this for both of us where we don't wanna leave em and wanna stay for a long time. Neither of us have lifestyles that we are able to compromise. Best case scenario, in my head, is we can either meet up in a neutral place, or where one of us is living on a periodic / regular basis. Like every couple months, and go from there. I'm okay with that as far as I know. BC, I need a lot of space. Also, even if we moved in somewhere together, we would always be apart anyway BC of his job. I'd love to hear anyone's thoughtful 2 cents, experiences, advice on this. We are trying to navigate this together thoughtfully, but as his departure date draws near, the unknown and thought of losing each other is becoming painful. Y'all please help a girl out. Lux Brumalus says. It sounds like the person you are into is a wanderer without a need for a consistent home base. If I were similarly situated as you, I would focus less on how to make it work, and more on whether it is what I want. Personally, I need a home base, and I need someone who comes home to that home base and sees it as home. Someone who stashed their belongings somewhere and then leaves them for 3, 6, 12, or more months at a time is not a good for me. And traveling with them wouldn't be an option for me because of my field of work. Put another way, I like permanence, and I wouldn't be able to make it work with someone whose entire life is as impermanent as the person you are describing. But that's me, not you, so focus on what you want, and whether that person can provide it for you. Assume that their situation and needs, or lack thereof, will not change. Let's meet again says. Mark Manson, who is a writer and podcaster that I like, has spoken about this quite a lot, since he used to travel all the time, and be a digital nomad, then met his wife, that wanted more stability and a home base. I think they were able to be together at first enough time to solidify the relationship and the commitment, and that now, after about 12 years together, it was in one of his last podcasts, he realized that true joy and growth comes from developing long-term relationships and the investment you then must offer by staying, the time investment, the emotional investment. The choosing to focus on this very important thing at the cost of other things that won't be as good in terms on how much they fulfill your soul, even if the other thing is more fun. I think that what he's saying, and what ultimately works for people who do either long distance for extended periods of time, or live a similar lifestyle, is that it's a choice. If you decide that growing and maintaining a partnership where you decide you are two whole, that creates something amazing and even better together, and that you develop a place where you have each other's backs, it'll work, and even if one of you chooses to change their lifestyle, it'll be worth it, since the benefit will be gained in other ways, even if the cost is high. If you always think about what you're missing and keep score, it won't work. I've moved countries with 2 exes. I don't regret the moves or the relationships, and I learned so much from both, and I'm happier, healthier, more content in myself, and so much more for having had those experiences. I'm also very good friends with one of those exes still. Sometime it works, just not like you expected. Shinshin Renma says, I strongly believe people who are transient wanderers who want the one and a family just haven't squared with their responsibility in the matter. You gotta pick a lane. When you realize years later you still don't have both, it's not gonna be because the one didn't materialize. It's because your priorities were out of whack. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.